Hiya, my name is Kona, and today we are here to talk about my favorite game ever of all time, and that is Pokémon. For those of you who do not know, I love Pokémon. And for those of you that do know, I'm so sorry to do this to you guys again, but you already know. My favorite Pokemon ever of all time is Caesar. I just look at him. He is sleek, he's got round and sharp bits, he looks fast and is fast. Peak color design, everything about him is perfect. But today isn't about him. I'm so sorry, baby, I love you so much. Mwah, 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 mwah. Today is, however, about his typing. Caesar is a part of my favorite type in the game. Steel type. Yeah, I bet you thought bug, huh? Psh, nah, no, there's no bug here, not even a little bit. Anyway, I have brought you here today to try to take some of my favorite Pokemon and redesign them as my favorite type. Now, Steel is a bit of a weird type when it comes to designs. Some Pokemon are clearly Steel type, while others have no sign of steel or metal anywhere. Not even a little. None. I also want to avoid turning any Pokemon into a just robot version of themselves. Like, you know, maybe a newly designed Paradoxmon. But like, come on, how are these not Steel type? Just look at them. Look at them. Use your eyes and think about it. Okay, and with all of that intro wrapped up, I think it's about time that we get into it. Now, first up on my redesign list is Flygon. Flygon is one of my favorite Pokemon. This is the simplest of the 4 designs I did for this video. I was very happy with the shape of this big fella. Look at that shape, it's coming along so good. If I was drawing a regular Flygon, this would have been a peak physical specimen for the species. Since I'm removing its ground type, I've decided to add a full faceplate to protect the eyes and nose from the sandstorms this Flygon would now face. I also decided to give it an extra set of little limmies there, little extra claw bits, so that way he had 6 legs instead of the 4 like a dragonfly would have. And I went and I coated the exterior of its wings and its claws and the tip of its tail with a silver metal type stuff, you know, to give it that steel type look. You can't have a steel type without some steel in it. And for the color design, I kept it mostly the same. I think this is the only Pokemon where I really do that with, where I keep that green and that red, and I think it turned out looking kind of like a regular Flygon. So now meet Silicon, the steel dragon type Pokemon. Its wings have been sharpened by spending a lot of time flying through sandstorms and developing a buildup of silicon on the tips of its wings. In retrospect, I would have loved to push this design more. Silicon just looks a little too much like a regular Flygon to me to call it a variant design or split evolution. It's more of a recolor at best, because I kept it mostly the same. Honestly, I had to include Flygon since it's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, but I just didn't know what else to add. Its design is already so good to me. Let me know what you guys would have done to make this design stand out a little more against the original. Now moving from what I think was the worst redesign to one of my favorites, Mantine. Now, I can't honestly say Mantine is one of my all-time favorites, but he's definitely one of my top 30, and I love manta rays in real life. It's my favorite animal, if second only to moths. On top of that, I had an immediate idea for this little guy that I couldn't shake, and the drawing was basically a one and done, which is unheard of for me. I cannot draw things straight from my mind to canvas. It just doesn't happen. So let me introduce to you Mantine, the steel flying type Pokemon. Mantine silently flies through the sky until a person or creature catches its attention. It will then follow them for several weeks before looking for something new. Hopefully you can see the inspiration comes from a drone. And all the eyeballs on stuff on its back made for perfect little helicopter blades. What are those called? They make for perfect little helicopter blades that drones normally have. And its big eye in the center being a camera. Ooh, it was just perfect in my mind. I also kind of mixed its colors up with the colors of its evolution form, so that way I kind of mellowed out those really bright blues and brought them more towards that monochrome dark gray color. And I think it worked really well for a drone. And the next Pokemon up on my list for my redesign is Mareep. Who doesn't love the cute little electric sheep? This guy is actually the guy that spawned the entire idea for this video, and I actually had a couple of designs in my head that I wanted to try and play with here on the canvas before I ended up settling on one. Ultimately, the question came down to, how do you make a cute little sheep better? Well, I settled on making it fluffier, of course. For this design, I gave it a couple of tries before I got the shape I wanted. Little peek behind the curtain here, I accidentally drew on the wrong layer, my bad. This idea spawned from the cleaning tool, Steel Wool, where I thought it was just a funny roll with the pun sort of idea, but after getting the shape I wanted, I ended up taking the fluffy coat that was meant to be the steel wool instead and making it attract other metals, giving it this fluffy, dirty sort of look, and I love it. Without further ado, I present to you Philippe, an electric steel type that is a bit of a loner due to its ability to attract stray lightning during thunderstorms. Philippe are covered with metal filaments because of the static they hold in their coats. I love it. It's so cute. Everything about this, it's perfect. He's dirty, he's fluffy, he's cute, he's scary. I can just see this thing being amazing all the time. I know he's a little guy, but hear me out. Right? Hear me out. And even better is we're going from this little guy to an even littler guy. That's right. Next up on my list of Pokemon is my fave of faves, Mimikyu. I love this spooky little Pikachu clone. Come on. Who doesn't fall in love with a creature that has that sad of a backstory as Mimikyu does? Now, there are a million ways to change up Mimikyu's design. They could be anything. So I use this opportunity to make Mimikyu mimic my other fave of faves, Steel type, which I introduced at the beginning of the video as Caesar. I can already see it now. I'm going out on my Pokemon adventure, me and my favorite partner Pokemon, Caesar, and we're exploring the wilds. Something mysterious and haunted is following us. And we turn and we look and we see nothing. And we stick together through thick and thin, through spooky, through scary, and we tough it out, as two partners should. And this little Mimikyu has been following us the entire time, sees how strong our bond is and how much I love my partner Pokemon. And so, as it's following us, it's building a little costume to match my Caesar in hopes that I will love it as much as I love my other fave. And guess what? I do. It's perfect. I love this little guy so much. I drew them in two different poses, one for the sort of Pokedex entry page that I've been doing, and one for the thumbnail title intro that I wanted to leave in the video here so you could see it in full process. And the action pose, I just think turned out so well. I don't often do foreshortening, especially not on non-humanoid creatures, but I think it turned out really well with the claws, the can claws, really coming out at you. I think it worked out really well. Time to meet Mimizor, the Steel Ghost type Pokemon. This Pokemon has hardened their body like it has hardened their emotions. Once a Mimikyu has found the love it seeks from a trainer that is a true Pokemon champion, they will develop the same desire to grow their strength and become as strong-willed as their trainers, dressing in an outfit appropriate to their goals. That's right, Caesar baby. Is drawing Mimikyu in a Caesar outfit a different Pokemon? I will leave that up to you guys, but I had to fit my fave in here somewhere. I just couldn't leave him hanging. Plus, on top of that, I have several other Pokemon I would really like to include in this series. Several faves that I didn't think would work well for the steel typing that already either look like they could be steel types or were already steel types in the first place. Let me know what typing I should do next, so that way I can include these lovely little lads. This has been a great exercise for drawing something other than humans and humanoids. If you like what you saw, maybe share it with a friend, or possibly subscribe. And if you do, I will see you at the next phase of the moon. Good night and goodbye. Hey, post-credit scene here. I just wanted to say if you like my art and you like what I do, you should also go check out my comic Prisoner of Paint on Tapas or Webtoons. Okay, thank you, bye.